Hey everyone, Alan Duncan MP, I think it's fair to say, is not my favourite person in the world. In fact, if I was to say what one MP do I dislike the most out of everybody in the House of Commons, he would be definitely in the top one. That's how much I cannot stand him. He's everything that you and I, you watching this and I value, he is against. Free speech, self-determination, an independent media and journalists holding power accountable. These are things that he is not for. He's all about protecting the establishment. That's his job. And just to give you some idea of what sort of an asshole and little shitbag he is, this is a guy that calls Julian Assange a miserable little worm. Julian Assange that brought journalism from into the 21st century. That's what Alan Duncan calls him. He's obviously trying to get his hands on him right now. Can't wait to get these goddamn Tories out. I really can't. But this is the sort of person Alan Duncan is. This was him on Have I Got News For You just a few years ago when the expenses scandal was around. Do you remember this?
So, do you claim for a second home, Alan?
Indeed I do.
Right, so you're claiming expenses on a second home when you have three and you've got an income coming in from it.
Fabulous system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fabulous system, isn't it? He had to pay back £6,000. Do you know what he claimed £6,000 for, Alan Duncan? Do you know what he claimed £6,000 for? Gardening. That's what he complained. Had to pay that £6,000 back. That's the sort of little shit Alan Duncan is. He's not my favourite person. And when I see somebody like Alex Duncan attacking somebody who is a real MP, Chris Williamson, in the House of Commons, I tend to get a little bit defensive, although Chris Williamson, to be fair, can defend himself. He said this: do you recognise the right of self-determination, Alan Duncan? He's obviously talking about Venezuela here and the Venezuela coup that's happening with our British government support. I don't know what they say in gentlemen's clubs of London, but my constituents are sick of Britain meddling overseas. They want a war on poverty at home, not poor people abroad. I'm going to play this all because it's excellent. And it's also going to make you mad at what Alan Duncan says.
This week I asked a question of Alan Duncan, who's the Minister of State for Europe and the Americas.
So can the Minister explain why the double standards? Is it that he's wanting to facilitate another humanitarian catastrophe, as we're seeing in Yemen with British arms? Does he want to see the same in Venezuela? And does he not support self-determination of peoples around the world rather than intervention from Western powers?
I got to say, I found his response an absolute disgrace.
Just listen to what this little shit says here. Just listen to the balls on this guy.
My right honourable friend, the member for Mid Sussex, referred to Poundland Lenins. I have just seen in this House one who isn't even worth a penny, let alone a pound. I recognise when I see it, as do people on the other side of this House, unreconstructed ideological nonsense when they see it. He is a throwback, and it brings shame. Indeed, I'm astonished he's even been prepared to show his face in this House today.
Well, guess what? I was proud to be there, Alan. And I'll tell you something else. The people I speak to, my constituents, they tell me they're sick to death of wars. They don't want to see more young people killed and maimed in places like Afghanistan and Iraq. They don't want to see their taxes being spent on American jets and outsourced military contracts. What will it take for our political establishment to get the picture? Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Nicaragua, now Venezuela. Regime change by military means does not work. So I ask again, Alan, do you recognise the right to self-determination for other countries? Because I do. And guess what? It's international law.
Well done, Chris Williamson. That's not the first time I have said this in the last few weeks. He's been excellent and he's getting better and better and better. And Alan Duncan is showing himself up to be the vermin that he is. The cancer on democracy that he is. And if you are angry at the way Alan Duncan replied to Chris Williamson there, asking viable questions such as, you know, do you support the right to self-determination? Is your plan with Venezuela to do what you've done in Yemen and Libya and Nicaragua and Iraq, to destroy the country by military means? Is that your plan? For him to come back, instead of answering those two questions with a smear like you're not even a pound shop Leninist, just goes to show Alan Duncan is not representing the people of this country. His job is not to do that. His job is to represent the elite of this country. And that's who he does. And that's exactly what he does. And is it any wonder that people in this country are so disillusioned with politicians, disillusioned with politics, disillusioned with the state of government and democracy in this country, when Chris Williamson, a guy who does reflect the values and the principles of ordinary, hard-working people in this country, is vilified and shamed in the Houses of Parliament like that by a guy protecting the elite? And if you're not angry about this enough, one of these two guys has been knighted by the Queen. Spoiler alert, it's not the guy that should have been. For more truly honest, independent media like the video you just saw, please subscribe and click the bell below as well so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. If you also like and share and comment on the video as well, that really helps with the algorithm and boosts exposure. And if you can support me, please do so. You can do with any of the avenues on the screen at the moment and below this video. You can support me for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, and every dollar helps. We need your support at the moment. We do not have an operating fourth estate. I'm sure you're aware, a functioning media holding power accountable is vital for democracy. At the moment, we haven't got it. So people like me are having to fill their shoes and do the job for them with your support. Thanks very much for your support. Till next time. Peace and take care.